It was so cold in here earlier. I thought I was going to pass away.
Well, I'm glad you didn't because we have this podcast to record.
Well, it's almost spooky season, so my ghost could have recorded it.
Ooh.
Let's go.
You've joined B2B Happy Hour with your hosts, Stephen Brent May and Hami Arrington. This is the place where B2B marketing meets BYOB. So pour yourself a glass, pull up a chair, and let's get this happy hour started. Okay, we're back for another episode. But before we dive in, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, rate, review, and most importantly, share it with all your friends.
Yeah, it really is helpful for us because we're a new podcast. And when you do that, it really exponentially increases our reach.
Yeah, so we'd appreciate it. We've enjoyed making this, and we want more people to hear it.
Yeah. And hopefully you enjoy it too. If you don't, just let us know.
Yeah.
Privately.
So, Hami, what are we drinking today?
Oh, it is a nice Sancerre.
Yes.
It is a Le Champ Clos from the Loire Valley. Well, the Sancerres are always from the Loire Valley, right. But I never met a Sancerre I did not like.
Same. I will always, if I'm at a restaurant, wine bar, and there's one on the menu by the glass, I will always order a glass.
And if we're together, we'll get a bottle.
Yes. And sometimes if we're alone, we'll get a bottle.
True.
I recently had a rosé Sancerre.
Oh.
Not as good as you would think.
Oh.
I was very excited about it because I'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
And it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like, oh my God, I've got to have this.
A rosé from the Sancerre region, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe?
But you know, one thing that always cracks me up with wine, like when people talk about rosé or white wine, especially like in the hot months, when they refer to a wine as a porch pounder.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, really?
My friends don't talk about it like that.
So I've heard like chefs, like Chris Shepard has referred to a wine as a porch pounder. It just means like, this is a really easy to drink wine that on the summer I'll just smash on the porch.
Okay.
Seems like something from Urban Dictionary, but.
Yeah, probably. So what's going on, Stephen?
Well, I wanted to talk about the end of the year rush. Okay. Is that a thing?
Oh, wait, are you talking about like rush talk?
Like rush talk?
Yeah, like sorority rushing?
False.
Oh.
I am talking about businesses planning for 2026. Like, is that a thing? Like, I mean, we've been having conversations with people, and I had a call yesterday. She talked about, it's almost budget season. Like, we're in the middle of that. Is there an end of year rush in B2B?
Ooh, I think so. I mean, there's one client that we work with, and really the last quarter of the year, I literally had a call today about it, that the last quarter of the year hinges on this budget season. And the reason why is because sometimes you get to the end of the year and you say, oh, wow, we made more money than we thought we did. And there's some money to spend. Or, oh, gosh, I have so much money in my budget left. I need to spend it or I'm going to lose it next year. Or the other side of it is I need to create my budget and get it approved. You know, what I think is so funny is in corporate life, you might spend, gosh, you think about this budget for the entire quarter and it may not even get approved until like January.
Right.
So, yes. So I think, yes, there's definitely a budget season.
Yeah. I've worked for companies before where we did our budgeting in January for the year. And I mean, and we've had experience with clients who do that. So I just think it's curious, like if the conversations that we and you out there are having now are more urgent because of budget, or if it's kind of a manufactured crisis we have where we're like, it's budget season, we've got to get ready, or if that's still a thing. It feels like it's more fluid than it used to be.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we worked with a lot of companies now where, you know, they do have a budget and they have to spend it. But then there's a lot of companies out there too. They're like, well, we don't have budget for it. We have to go ask for it.
Right.
Which I think is an interesting type of company to work for because you don't know if you have the money to spend on something or not.
Right. And these are sometimes like $1 billion corporations.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Well, what do you have going on, Hami? I know that's not really what's been going on, but that was like top of mind for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's top of mind because, I mean, I don't know why it's top of mind for you, but I literally had a call about it today.
Yeah.
So we spent a good amount of time talking about it. What's going on in my life? I feel like we're at an L10 right now, like business best, personal best.
So what is your personal best? You have a trip coming up.
I do. Yeah, I'm going to London with my husband. I've never been there, so we plan to eat and shop and watch shows.
I've only been to the airport for a connection. So I've also never been to London.
Oh, well, I'll send you plenty of pictures.
Okay.
It'll be exactly like being there.
Probably. So while you're in London, I am going to the Southern Smoke Festival this weekend in Houston.
Oh, that's going to be so fun. I'm so jealous. Not jealous enough to delay my trip, but
well, I mean,
jealous.
You could always cancel and come.
You're going to switch places? Is that what you're...
No, I just got back from a European trip. I don't want to make that flight again that soon. But yeah, so it's like, I don't know how many chefs, but chefs from around the country, all you can eat and drink for 4 hours while you walk around. So I've been wanting to go for years, so I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I'm really jealous. I think it's like something like 84 chefs.
Yeah, and I mean, it raises money for a good cause.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yeah. So you'll have to send me pictures.
Yeah. And then we're going to a conference tomorrow.
Yeah.
Marketing Edge.
AMA Houston putting on the annual conference.
Yeah. So it's always exciting just to hear what's happening. Who knows, maybe next time we'll have something to share.
Yeah.
From that. But do you want to jump into what we're talking about this week?
Yeah. So what we're talking about this week is the first in a series of 3 topics. And it's the name of this series is Clarity Before Tactics.
Right. So if you remember, or if you happen to hear the last episode where we talked about the traits of a good B2B marketer, one of those traits is clarity before tactics, which essentially means knowing where you're going before you just start doing stuff. And a lot of marketers don't do that. And so when Hami and I were talking about what that looks like for us, it's really about not these long-term marketing strategies necessarily, but really having a plan. So, we talked about 3 pieces of this, like having clarity before tactics in terms of who is your audience? What problems do you solve? And then how do you communicate that? How do you tell that story? So today we're going to talk about that first point. Who do you serve? And there are other words for that we've used in the past, right?
Yeah, who do you serve? Meaning like who's your audience? Who's your buyer?
Buyer personas.
Buyer personas. That's really, the core of it is buyer personas. And I feel like buyer personas they kind of fell out of fashion for like a minute. But I've been seeing a lot of articles online. People are like, you still need buyer personas.
Yeah, it does feel like it was, I mean, that's the thing with marketing. There are things that feel like buzzwords, but they're really just like core principles that stick around. We may have a term for it this year, GEO. Is that going to last?
No, it's still going to be SEO. I mean, right. That's our stake in the ground.
So buyer personas, who is your audience? Target audience. I guess that's another one. Target audience. People, you still hear that sometimes, but not as much as you used to. Who's our target audience? I think
we should talk about a little bit too, like personas. If you have done marketing in the last 10 years, you've ever used HubSpot, you ever watched a video for buyer personas on HubSpot. I mean, they kind of started this conversation, right? And I remember specifically one of the words that they use is watering holes. Right. Do you remember this?
No.
Watering holes. Watering holes meaning that it's where they get their information and where they consume the information. What type of information do they like to consume? Which we do subscribe to that, right? We do want to be where they are, where they like to intake their information. One thing that is different from the HubSpot persona, so maybe what you would think about a persona, is that we don't actually look at demographics very much. I mean, there's a portion of that we do, but we don't really hang our hat on the demographics and really understanding that, because as we all know, everybody's a little bit different. Your buyer is going to be a little bit different. And B2B, you really don't need to know the demographics as much. But what we'd like to know is the motivations of a person or a buying committee.
Have you seen the meme of Ozzy Osbourne and Prince Charles where it lists their demographics, and it's like kind of illustrating that why demographics are such a bad use case for targeting?
Yeah.
It's, I mean, I think it's interesting. Like when we went to a workshop a year ago, 2 years ago, a long time ago, I can't remember. And
your memory is impeccable.
Thank you.
Sometime between 2 days ago and 6 years ago.
At some point after starting One Foot Over, we attended a workshop, but there were a lot of media agencies there, like traditional media agencies. And just remember how fascinated we were that everything was about demographics in media buying.
Yeah.
And when we talked about, I hate to use the word like psychographics or firmographics, but like anytime we talked about anything that wasn't demographics, their minds were blown. And they were like, that's such an interesting way to look at an audience.
Yeah. And I think media buying is interesting too, because media buyers aren't marketers, right? They're really just literally looking at the media. And so I don't even know. I mean, I'm sure there's a media buyer somewhere out there that will comment and say, well, we do look at this. But I think that if you were, if you're thinking about, the modern day media buyer, which buys media on, let's just say LinkedIn, that's what we do a lot. You're still looking at those types of demographics to a certain extent.
Right.
I mean, that's what's available.
Right. And so outside of the like demographics, interests and stuff, you talked about like watering holes or hanging out where they are. How can somebody find that? Like, how do we know where somebody is spending their time online?
We use a tool internally called SparkToro, and it's been super useful to figure out what kind of places they're watering holes, because it tells you like what websites they visit, what kind of podcasts they listen to, and what kind of what social media do they use. And I mean, lately we've been using the LLMs a lot. Right. Because they have the LLM feature as well. So you tell what kind of LLMs they're using.
Yeah. I mean, it's, outside of traditional media buying too, like if you know your audience based on their job title or interest is subscribing to these 3 YouTube channels, or they listen to these 5 podcasts, like that's a huge opportunity for you to go see if you can get sponsorships there and like buy. Instead of just placing a huge media buy, can I go sponsor this podcast?
Yeah.
Because I know my audience is there.
What would be cool, and I haven't seen it, is if they were able to tell like what Substacks they subscribe to, or what email newsletters they subscribe to. I think that would be pretty cool.
I think they do show what subreddits they follow.
Yeah, right. Subreddits. Yeah. Well, but that's so personal. Because you're not just looking at subreddits for your work. Like, for instance, what did we look at? There was one client we looked at, and one of the subreddits they would go to a lot was teenagers.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, so before we go off track with that, I'm going to switch this up. Okay, so when we're talking about who somebody serves, what is one of the biggest mistakes that companies make when trying to nail down their audience or, talking to their audience directly?
I think the number one mistake that people make that we have experienced before is not having an audience at all. They're saying everybody is their audience.
Right. And
I mean, you can't serve everybody.
Right. What's the adage? Like if you try to serve everybody, you're serving nobody.
Right, exactly. And I mean, I think that this particular case, he was a business owner, and I think it is scary. I mean, because we're business owners as well, to say that, oh, we serve this audience, right? Or we're niching down and this is who we're serving. But it's really to your detriment if you're saying that you serve everybody. There has to be some kind of specialty.
Yeah, thinking about that, I mean, I still remember this conversation as plain as day, and it was at the very beginning of One Foot Over, probably 7 years ago. We said, who who is your audience? Like who are your best customers, like your best prospects? Oh, everybody. Like we serve anybody that needs our help. And it's like, okay, well, that's fine. But who, like, would it be this industry? Would it be this job title? Like who's the easiest to close? Like what are your biggest revenue opportunities? Oh, anybody, any business. Like it could be this, it could be English, Vietnamese, Farsi. And we're like, wait, what? Hami is literally the only person in this like general vicinity that speaks Vietnamese, and she doesn't even work here.
Right.
So,
yeah, it was challenging. It was a challenging conversation, but
to your point though, like, and we talked about this on the 7 traits. I think it was when we talked about adaptability, like it's rooted in fear and like being afraid to say like, this is our audience. It's scary as a business owner to think about leaving money on the table.
Yeah, it definitely is. Was we're talking about niching down. So, like, do you have to have a niche?
So I think it depends on who you ask.
So I'm asking you.
Well, if I don't know. The short answer is I do think there is value in having a niche. But I don't think a niche has to be a specific industry vertical or a job title. I think there are different ways to define your audience and niche down. Now, as agency owners, we have gotten a lot of information from Drew McClellan, which is super helpful in helping agencies find their niche. I don't think that necessarily translates to every business, but I do think there's value in having a niche because then it makes it really easy to say, this is exactly who we serve. But I think businesses have to be really clear about like, is it an industry vertical? Is it service? Is it a service-based niche? Like, is our niche SEO? Is our niche website design and development for this? I mean, how specific it gets, I think, is the part where there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of variables.
I think the reality is, unless you're a big giant corporation like GE or something like that, there's going to be certain people that you serve better. And I'm actually going to take that back. Even GE has their own, right? Their own niche that or who they serve. It's they have broad services and broad industries they work in, but it's still a niche. The reality is that there's going to be somebody that you serve better than others.
Right.
Period. There's going to be people that you serve that you want to serve better than others. And there are people that are on the other side of it. There are potential customers that you can help and they want your experience. They're looking for your experience. And so it's really matching that up, those two things.
So a question I have for you, is it niche or niche?
Well, I say niche. There was a time I know internally we went back and forth. I think, did I set a meeting? I set like a 15-minute meeting.
We had a meeting to determine how.
What is the official position of One Foot Over on niche?
Right. And it's, both are correct. Both can be correct.
We looked it up.
But we needed to decide what we were going to go with because we couldn't be out in the streets one day talking about a niche and the next day talking about a niche.
Yeah,
so
you got to have some brand consistency here.
Right. So it's, very similar to our style guide, brand guidelines. You got to find these words. The one we've not settled on is it data or data? I mean, I think we both say data.
Data.
But
data.
Gala.
Ooh, I do both.
Same.
Yeah. Is it Steven or Stefan?
Oh, God. It literally has been Steven my entire life until probably 2016, 17. And I blame Steph Curry. Because once he became famous, then all of a sudden people are like, Stefan? And I'm like, nope, never has been.
I don't know. Is anybody else named Steph like that?
I mean, I've met people in life named Stefan, but it's few and far between. But if you see, and it's usually like Stefan or Phan, but like there's never been any confusion about my name until like the last few years.
I feel like we've lost the plot.
We have, but this is really important here to make sure. My name is Stephen, spelled with a PH.
It's pronounced the same way as if it were with a V.
Right, except mine is correct. A V is not.
I don't know though. I mean, now I'm thinking maybe it is correct. Stefan.
Okay, Hami.
Okay, so I know we're talking about we talked about like why we need to have a niche and why we have to have an audience, right? But I mean, we really haven't hit on like why do we really need a persona? Why do you need a persona?
I mean, it goes back to the overarching clarity before tactics. If you don't know where you're going, how do you get there? If you don't know who your persona is or who your audience is, how are you creating content? How are you reaching them through targeting or segmenting or whatever, whatever, once you get to the tactics, like if you don't know who that is, how are you going to make sure you're reaching them and communicating with them the right way? Because otherwise you're just saying the exact same thing to everybody out there and hoping they, respond.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We've done a lot of persona work for us, right?
Yeah.
And we've mentioned SparkToro already. We were huge fans of it. But when we looked at our own data for SparkToro, what we found was that the people that we're trying to target, the titles that we're trying to target, they really like food. So it turns out they're foodies. And then I don't remember what was in it, but we also were able to conclude that they liked like 90s hip hop.
Yeah, like late 90s, early 2000s hip hop.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's our genre. That's when we were in high school and college. That's what we were hearing on the radio.
Yourself.
Okay. I mean, so when we have a sales meeting or like a strategy meeting with a client, we usually listen to like some early 2000s Cash Money as a hype song right before the meeting.
Yeah, or Real Big.
Yeah.
Manny Fresh.
Cash Money. What is it? Cash Money coming in for the 2000s. I forget.
Bling Bling.
Yeah.
That comes up on the playlist a lot.
But I think, and I don't think they respond to it because that's what you and I listen to or like grew up on. I think it's probably because a lot of our audience is in the same age group as us. So going back to maybe demographics are important, right? Because based on their age, this is the music.
But I think that, the foodie thing is, I think transcends the, ages though. And you might be wondering, well, how the heck does a marketing agency use this information? Well, the way that we use it is that we write this newsletter, Weekend Reading. You can sign up at getOneFootOver.com for this newsletter, but it comes out every Saturday. And we know that if we mention these things in the newsletter, it is more relevant to our audience. And so that's how we use it. And we're still putting out marketing content and we're putting out really useful information. But the way that we write it is, we drop in like a so fresh and so clean fairly often, actually.
Right.
Probably more often than we should. But that's, that's Outcast from, 2000 or I don't know, probably earlier or whatever. And those references, they resonate. Right. And then we put in food articles sometimes, or we reference food or whatever that might be. And that really does help with our engagement on our newsletter.
Well, and what's interesting, like, even though we are not, quote unquote, a creative shop, like, we're not the big branding agency. If we share an article, there was one in a recent issue of Weekend Reading about the brand and logo refresh for Blue Diamond almonds. And it was like the most clicked article that week. And I think it's because, one, it's interesting because people like to look at brand refreshes, but also because it's got that food tie-in. Because I think had it been a brand refresh about something else, people would have been like, oh, that's interesting. But I think because it's also food, it makes it more interesting to our audience. Right,
exactly. I mean, our audience, I'm just pulling something out of the air. Guns did not come up. But if we started posting articles about Glocks or the rebranding of Glock, I don't think that people would engage with it at all.
Right. We could try it. I mean, and that's the other thing. We believe in testing. So
Yeah, that's true.
a lot of gun content coming out from OFO
Yeah.
pretty soon, just as an A/B test.
Let's do it.
Next week's podcast, what are your thoughts on the Second Amendment? Not going to happen.
Okay. So
Can I get more wine?
Yeah. Yes, of course you can get more wine.
Hami, I have to say that we record our podcast on different days of the week. It's not always the same day. Today happens to be a Tuesday. I also have OrangeTheory. I have a HIIT workout a little bit after the podcast. So it'll be really interesting because this is the first time I've gone to OrangeTheory after drinking wine.
I mean, it's the first for everything. You might like it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's what I start doing, just drinking before exercising.
You might get a PR today.
Possibly. So today, I don't want to go off the rails too far. It's the quarter mile benchmark, which takes like under 90 seconds to do.
Yes.
We've talked about why you need a persona, why you need to get clear about your audience. We've talked about, is it important to have a niche? We've also talked about how you use this information once you have it. But what we've not touched on yet, Hami, is how do you get there? How do you get clear about who your audience is? So I think we should spend a little bit of time talking about a process. Specifically, we can talk about our process.
Yeah.
But
let's talk about that. Because this clarity before tactics. I mean, maybe you've listened all the way to this point. You're like, well, I'm already on board with getting a persona. So how do you freaking do it? We're going to tell you what our process is, what it has been.
Yeah. And I'm going to probably oversimplify it for the sake of this, but at the root of it, the most important thing is to talk to your customers or talk to your prospects. And I think that's one thing that's missing from a lot of marketers and a lot of companies. They don't talk directly to the people that buy from them or the people that potentially buy from them. So our process is really interviewing not just the best customers, not just the best prospects, but even ones who have went through the sales cycle and maybe said, we're not ready yet. This isn't the right fit. So we want to understand what got them to that point and then what the objections were. And so it's really spending time conducting those interviews. And usually we do around like somewhere between 10 to 15, because what we found is after that, the data doesn't really change. And so after doing those interviews, it's really about synthesizing the information, reviewing it, synthesizing it, understanding like what are the patterns, what are the things that kept coming up over and over again, are there outliers? Because those aren't necessarily things that you want to include and say this is a part of our persona, but sometimes they are things that you're like, hey, this is a really interesting nugget that we want to keep in the back of our mind because we've never heard that before. It's anecdotal, it may just be one person, but something to have like in the back of your mind. But it's really at the root of it, talking to your customers and analyzing that information.
Yeah, I think that before we move on to my lukewarm take, I think it's important to talk about, because you said the best customers. I mean, and whenever we're talking to a company, usually the best customer is one that is the most profitable. Right. That's usually how we define it. But sometimes it can be your longest customer or
maybe the easiest one to work with.
Right, exactly. And so again, it's like this clarity. Sure, we're working towards clarity, but also what is clarity around what your best customer looks like? And I would say that that's easier said than done, because a lot of times we get to a company and they're like, well, we don't know how much money we're actually making on them because we don't have those measures in place.
Right. Because it could be somebody that, I think the gut reaction is to be like, well, they pay us the most each month. So that's our best customer.
Yeah.
But what about the one that's paid you kind of like mid-rate, but they've been with you for 15 years?
Right.
What's exactly that? I don't want to get into customer lifetime value, but that's.
So it's not a marketing class.
Right. Statement. 4 Ps. There that is again.
Okay. Here's my lukewarm take. You ready for it?
Yep.
You can use AI to create buyer personas, and they can be accurate.
So are you saying that AI is a replacement for talking to customers and prospects?
No and yes.
Okay, explain.
Okay, so no, you can't just not talk to them. That's a reality of it, because these are actually humans and they have thoughts and feelings and motivations. But I know that a lot of times when we're talking to a company, they don't have the time or the political pull maybe to get as many interviews that we would like. And so what we have found is that we can go online and pull their LinkedIn profiles and then create the personas from there. We detail it out in our ultimate B2B website framework. And so if you want the full information, you can download it there. But we found a lot of success there by doing it like that. And then what we do is then double back and look at the actual interviews with real people and then validate the information from there.
So trust, but validate.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's still a robot.
So lukewarm take, not a hot take?
No, I don't think it's a hot take.
Okay.
AI is not a hot take now.
It's October, so it is the beginning of spooky season. So 2 things. We want to talk about Halloween costumes, but before we do that, we have a webinar coming up called Scary Content Mistakes B2B Marketers Make with AI.
So long.
It really is a long title. Hami is doing this webinar with one of our team members, Val, on October 30th. So super spooky.
Yeah.
We know that AI and specifically content generation with AI can be scary. So they're going to demystify that and kind of.
Well, I mean, it goes back to, I mean, really, it's not 2023, it's 2025. So quit using the LLMs to create content as if we just started using it. Come on.
So we'll also link that in the description below so you can register.
Yeah.
If you can't make it live, we'll send out the recording, but make sure you register for that.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, Steven, what are you doing for Halloween again?
I am going to a party at a friend's house. I don't have a costume yet, though. So that's what we've got to figure out.
Are you doing like a couple's costume?
That was part of the conversation last night. So we've looked at things like Mario and Luigi, but that feels like overdone.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe WWE wrestlers.
Okay.
So I found a Macho Man costume, which was really cool. Undecided yet, though. But what about you?
I'm going to a party. I'm going with a friend, though. We're probably not going to do a couple's costume together. But I've been exploring some things. I don't want to do an overdone one either. So that's part of the issue. So I was looking at maybe like being like a barista. And then what is that girl's name from? Is it Mia from Pulp Fiction? Just thinking about maybe her. And then maybe a garden gnome. That's another one.
I thought about going as a Labubu, but like I don't want it to look cheap or like, lame.
Well, you also have to keep in mind like your audience, right? So the party that I'm going to is going to be like some older people. And so I can't just show up as like the K-pop demon hunters because they're going to know what that is.
Right. Somebody going to this party said they were like, I may dress up as one of the brothers from like one of the Menendez brothers. And I'm like, well, those are just regular clothes.
Well, 80s clothes though.
But no one's going to know who you are. They're just going to think you're from the 80s.
Yeah, you have to be both. Yeah, just like 80s guy, right?
So should we wear costumes on our next episode since it's the closest one to Halloween?
I think it'd be fun.
All right. I probably won't test drive my party costume because it may be too elaborate for this.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that either.
Okay. Yeah. So costumes?
Yeah, costumes. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Sounds good.
So then you're going to be forced to watch the YouTube version or wait for the clips on TikTok and
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
The videos
Shorts.
The videos on Spotify too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you will actually, so you just won't be able to escape it.
Everywhere you enjoy podcasts. All right, Hami, before we wrap this up, what did you think of this wine?
Oh, it's a good one. I mean, Sancerre is
Sancerre.
hard. It's hard to go wrong with Sancerre.
It really is.
Yeah, it's so good. So actually, I do recommend this one, Les Champs Clos.
Perfect. And as you can see, we are still drinking out of plastic cups.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's going to be our signature.
I think we're going to upgrade.
Yeah.
Before the next episode.
Well, I mean, the only way we're going to be able to upgrade is if you share and like and comment on this podcast.
Right. I mean, the monetization is just not doing it right now. There is no monetization. All right. We will see you on the next episode when we talk about clarity before tactics. What problems do you solve?
Exactly right.
All right. See you next time.
Bye.
Cheers.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll see you at the next happy hour.